Hello and welcome to Sobriety Society. My name is Sean Snowday and I am the founder of Sobriety Society and the voice. And today we have Austin Davis, LPC with Clearfork Academy on the line. And, I met you a while back and this is just really exciting to have you on here. One reason is I went to a Christian academy growing up and I was also in the mountains. So this is going to be really kind of interesting for me, bring me back to a lot of my foundation. So yeah, I'm really excited. How you doing, Austin?
Man, I'm doing fantastic.
All right. So one of the things I almost said, all right.
All right, all right.
But I always like to learn a little bit about the people and our guests on our podcast and how they got into this field. You're an LPC, but before you were an LPC, I'm sure you're doing things that led up to that. And maybe you have like a personal mission before you came into the field. So how did you get in this field and what happened? Did you have a mission before you joined into this?
Yeah, man, a lot of times I say this industry found me, or this calling found me, and that's been kind of the theme of life. I just try to put one foot in front of the other, and then eventually something in front of me happens. So
right.
I didn't wake up one morning at 14 years old and say, hey, I want to be a substance abuse counselor and work with teenagers. And that dream at that age was being a pro baseball player. So
oh, sweet.
So, reflecting back on it, I grew up around a lot of substance abuse, aunts, uncles, grandparents, sometimes parents. And so it was really all the way around me. But my first kind of calling and career, if you will, was working with teenagers in a local church. My undergraduate degree was from a Bible college. And so, 4 years studying Bible theology and family systems, really kind of within the church, and then really got working in that industry or, in the local church and figured out that, man, I'm way out of my league because I'm working with families and doing counseling and behavioral issues and a lot more than just discipleship stuff. And so decided to go back and get my master's degree, which really began as a master's in divinity.
Right.
So did 80 hours of Bible and theology there and took counseling classes kind of on the side. But then really it just really smacked me in the face that I need to be a licensed professional counselor and be in the thick of the counseling with people. And really found it to allow me to be more genuine, authentic, and really sit in the crisis of people's lives.
Right.
Specific.
Now, did this anytime, because I get that, what you're saying about like the calling and everything. And that's this podcast, the way this all started. I have a business coach, and they said, just go out and interview 4 business owners, which I did. And every single one of them said, wow, that was great. I know 4 other people that would love to be interviewed by you. And I was like, and it turned into a podcast. So that was like a calling, but then there's also a vision. So did there ever become where you were like, okay, I see something is coming to fruition in my life that was not my plan. It was more God's plan. But was there a time when you had a vision for Clearfork Academy and you were like, okay, this is how I see my path or my journey. This is what I see going on.
Man, you're speaking my language, because my role in our accountability chart here at Clearfork is visionary. My business card says CEO and founder, but visionary is really my giftedness, I think, and be able to see things ahead of time before the curve, and then articulate those to people who can build it and to bring it out. And so it really did. It working right out of grad school, worked in public mental health for about 4 years, and saw every kind of disorder that was in the DSM. So really, as a young therapist, got my feet super wet, really knee deep in the counseling stuff, which led into adult treatment. Worked for about 6 years in the adult environment, working with 30, 40, 50-year-olds. There was a resounding theme that just kept coming back when I'm doing therapy. It was, hey, when did this start? When was your first use? When was your trauma? When did your parents divorce? When did you move? When did you tear your ACL and realize that your career in sports was over? And it was always in this adolescent time period. And so the calling, the vision began to grow of, man, what if I could get some of these 30s and 40-year-olds before they had kids, before they had businesses, before they had multiple felonies? What if I could get them at 14 or 15 and
right.
create, what we call the Clearfork, a new legacy for them, a new path that they can go on. And so that really began the journey, of that, just way back then, working with adults. And so today that just continues to manifest and grow, into what every day's a new day, every day's a new thought, a new kind of vision. And so it's fun. It's fun to be the idea guy.
And one of the things about that, because I got rehabbed at 14 and my first time.
Yep.
And the thing was that it was in the mountains and it was 10 miles past snow line. That means the snowplow went up to this store called Snowline, and then 10 miles past that in 10 feet of snow, and then 5 miles off the main road. So they had to literally helicopter. When we did laundry, we would put all of our laundry in a duffel bag or our suitcase, whatever, take it down to the lodge, and they would helicopter our laundry to town every week, and they'd do our laundry and bring it back. So I'm really excited to learn more about Clearfork and how it all works. So then have you ever read The E-Myth by Michael Gerber?
Man, it's literally on a desk somewhere around here. So both of them. I'm an E-Myth junkie.
Yeah, absolutely. You said the adolescent stage, so I thought, okay. So yeah, I've studied that book inside and out and read it multiple times, have notes. I've had webinars on it. So great. So then Clearfork started coming to fruition. And so when you first started it, what type of challenges, I want to get into your services and what you provide, but what challenges did you have when you started, putting this all together?
Man, time. Time is always up against you from due dates with paperwork, whatever. Time just doesn't stand still, and so
right.
I want to get things done yesterday, and so everything was just kind of compounded by that. But I think one of the biggest challenges, yet the greatest reward, has been finding the right people for the right seats.
Right.
I think in any organization, you have to have the right person in the right seat. And so early on, man, it was me. It was me doing the trash runs and me doing payroll and me doing therapy and me, it was just all me.
Yeah. And
so each day, each week, each month was about replacing me in one of those seats, in the trial and error of that, because we do something that's so unique, I think, to our industry, and that's combining the really, really competent clinical skill with a personal foundational relationship with God. And it's kind of a unicorn in some ways that we do something really unique. So having the right person in the right seats, something that we aren't struggling with anymore, but have found a rhythm on how to identify that person and onboard them. So
yeah, so let's talk about that a little bit. So your services, tell me a little bit about Clearfork. So Clearfork Academy, that kind of explains a little bit the word academy. Not sure what that means.
Yeah.
And then what is the program? What are the services? How does it all work from like stem to stern?
Yeah. I like how you noticed, you know, it doesn't say Clearfork Rehab or Clearfork Treatment Center.
Right.
You know, from the beginning, Clearfork in the Fort Worth area has some sort of resemblance because of a lake and a river. And so we actually sit at the lake level of that. So we have 40 acres overlooking Eagle Mountain Lake. So we're 20 minutes south of Fort Worth or north of Fort Worth and 30 minutes from DFW Airport. So we're really, really close to a Metroplex area, but there's a 1,000-acre nature preserve next door to me and the lake north of me. So we feel really serene and country-like. So, you know, that was part of the location for us is really, really important because we have access to the major city, but yet it's far enough, you know, to provide some safety and distance from the hustle and bustle of town.
Yeah.
You know, so we set out to serve the adolescent population, which is 13 to 18 years old. So we found a niche serving boys only.
Right.
I think one of these days we'll have a girls facility because everybody begs me each week to serve girls because they got referrals or moms are calling and but right now we're licensed for 24 beds. We're state licensed and have Joint Commission accreditation. So we've been through all of the hoops and got the stuff on the wall. Man, we provide a really diverse type of therapy. A lot of programs hone in on one thing like DBT or trauma focused only or stuff like that. And so I think we really pride ourselves on having a multidisciplinary approach. Me as a therapist, you know, I can go from watercolor to family systems very quickly and combine the two together. And so we really utilize our facilities to orchestrate all of that. I mean, we've got hiking trails. We have 6 high elements in our ropes course. And so that's a 50-foot climbing wall that has a zip line off of it and the power pole and just really, really good challenge course elements that we leverage every day, every week to challenge kids and their core beliefs about themselves, about how they're working with one another within the community, all those things. And so we integrate the family. Every Saturday we spend about 2 hours of family education. That's required before they get to come and visit and have fun. And so we don't want our families just to drop their kid off and say, hey, fix him, you know, but I'm going to go continue my maladaptive patterns of behavior and enmeshment and,
right.
You know, self-serving.
Yeah, that's important. I want to look into that. So this is especially for your listeners when you're going to get this and you'll have people listening to this podcast, and especially for the parents that are bringing their children or their loved ones into Clearfork Academy. Like I'm sure there's kind of a qualification process first, or some type of interviewing process. So how does that all work before you accept the child?
Yeah, it's really kind of simple. I mean, we know off the bat when a parent finds us, there's something going on, and so we do a simple phone screening to figure out, you know, what are those symptoms, if you will, of substance abuse. Is it kind of a mild, moderate, or severe usage? Is it a single substance or a polysubstance? And then are there any other mental health disorders associated with it? So depression, anxiety, ADHD, oppositional defiant, you know, attachment, reactive attachment, or something like that. And so we pride ourselves on being dual diagnosis and having the abilities to kind of treat both sides of that. We have psychiatry, we have nursing staff, and all of our clinicians are master's level therapists. So they're able to really know from an experience level what substance use is like, as well as have the clinical expertise of talking through a genogram, or talking through the depression and anxiety. And I just met with one of my therapists. He's one of our kiddos right now has had like 4 major people in his family system pass away in the last 6 months.
Yeah.
And so we're dealing heavily with grief, and how does substance abuse play into that? And
right. Yeah. Yeah. So then once they come in, because you talked about the challenge therapy, and do you guys have horses? I'm just going offline for a second here.
Yeah, we don't have them on campus. We've got stables, we've got barn, we've got all the necessities for them. We've just decided at this time to trailer them in. We've got a local guy. I mean, we're kind of in horse country, so there's horses everywhere and therapists everywhere. So they trailer them in, and they work on our campus. So we actually don't physically own them, but we do therapy weekly.
Also, because we had horses where I went, and it was just so awesome to that was like the funnest part. We had a thing called Dynamite Gulch, which was a rope swing that I'm sure, well, no, I'm not going to say that, but I'll just tell you this rope swing out of 14 or 15-year-old to go on that thing. Oh my gosh, it was the best. And just riding the horses and being in the lake and going on canoes, the camaraderie, the brotherhood, because I went to an all-boys school. It was, these are memories. And here's the thing, and I'm not saying this is true for all of the kids that come to yours, but when I was there, I wasn't overjoyed. I wasn't overjoyed coming there. I wasn't overjoyed staying there. But I'll tell you what, this was 40 years ago, maybe 30 years ago that I went, well, however old I am, right? 40 years ago that I went there. And I'll tell you what, within a year or two out of there, I was like, that was the best experience that I had as a teenager going through that process.
Yeah.
And I came out, and my relationship with my parents changed. I was a better person, a better child, a better student. I started getting good grades. I started getting A's when I came out of there. All the work they did was just really amazing. And so when the kids come in and like your onboarding process, they have to get a bed and get assigned, and maybe chores. I had to like mop.
Yep.
So what's the experience? What's the journey for the child, like the first week or month or however it works?
Yeah, I mean, those first 30 days for us are really just about rapport building.
Right.
We're trying to kind of de-escalate, because we know we've kind of ripped them away from their Instagram account, their girlfriend, their nicotine usage, and obviously their drug usage. And so we know we've really, really pulled them into a foreign land.
Right.
And so those first 3 days to 7 days are acutely designed to build rapport and integrate them into the Clearfork Way. So they're assigned a buddy, and so somebody that's got some seniority in the house. And so we kind of create this discipleship buddy system very early on. So they learn all the paperwork from us, but then they learn the how-to from their peer.
Yeah.
So we
that's
really,
great, because it actually gives them hope that they're like, hey, I can be a leader. I can be a disciple. I can grow. I have a mentor. I'm a protege right now, but I have that opportunity to help others. And really our mission here at Sobriety Society is to, and I don't mean to interrupt, but our mission is to help everybody on the planet that has a challenge with addiction to overcome those challenges and find I'm getting emotional, find their path and their passion to helping others. And that right there, what you said, is exactly in line with our mission over here at Sobriety Society, is to help people find their path and their passion to helping others.
Yeah, absolutely. Unity is one of our core values and core behaviors that we really embody. And so they're really assigned a recovery coach and a peer that are focused on, for the first 7 days, just dialing them into the Clearfork Way and the daily schedule. We have a pretty robust behavioral management system, and I use the air quotes there because it's not punitive. It's
Right.
very relationship based, and it's reward based. Just kind of like the world is. I mean, you go to work, you get your paycheck, and so we
Right.
really try to emulate the systems that can be utilized for families when they go home, and it's a reward based. It's trust but verify. So we try to honor those kids and take the shame out of being in treatment.
Right. Oh, yeah. And now you've said something, and I just have to go this direction, because the whole point of this podcast is the answer to the question I'm about to ask. But you've said multiple times the Clearfork Way. So what is the Clearfork Way, and how does that all work, and what's the structure of that?
So Clearfork really finds, words mean things to me. And so when I was looking for a name for this place, I had the idea, what it would look like on paper, but the name stands for three things for me. Is one, our geography. Our geography is on Eagle Mountain Lake, and the Clear Fork, the West Fork, and the Trinity Rivers run through the river, or run through the lake, and then exit the city in different forms. So our geography is one. Secondly, psychologically, I'm more of a CBT therapist. And so when people come into treatment, or we get depressed, or we get in a certain frame of mind, there is no clear fork. It is a tunnel. It's a one-way road. And I typically say it's the highway to hell. We've just got throttle all the way down, and there is no exit ramp for us. And so the process of therapy for me is providing an exit ramp, providing a solution when there doesn't seem like one. The big book talks about, there is a solution, and how to get to that. The third thing is, I think, our most unique thing, and that's theologically originated, and so we have our geography, we have our psychology, and we have theology. And I just can't pull that away from my background and who I am as a person. And so we decided to use Jeremiah 6:16 to kind of illustrate the Clearfork Way. And God's people were way screwed up and off base, and basically just kind of giving God the finger and say, we don't want anything to do with you. And sort of this rebellious state. And there's this little line in 6:16. It says, stand at the crossroads and look. Ask where the ancient pathways are. Walk in them, and you're going to find rest for your souls. And so we've taken those kind of five things: stand, look, ask, walk, and rest, as the Clearfork Way. And so we want to stand at that crossroad. When a family comes in, it's a visible, actual crossroads when they walk through the door of, okay, I'm choosing life today versus this destructive path that I've been on. We're going to evaluate on all of our assessments, evaluate the family systems, evaluate the kid, evaluate as he talk. Before we ever ask questions, we have to first see, right? Light travels very fast, sound travels slow. So it's a natural progression of how we engage the world. And so after we've stood with that kid or that family, we can look at and evaluate what's happening, and then we can begin to ask the questions. We can begin to devise the treatment plan. We can begin to really talk about trauma, talk about things that have them broken inside, and what are those core tenets that we're going to put on a treatment plan and therapeutically engage. And when we go to walk, we all typically learn by doing. We can talk about ethereal things. We can talk about CBT. We can talk about, putting solutions in motion. But until we actually know, we turn the wrench on the engine, can we say, hey, I've rebuilt an engine, or have these behaviors? And so when we put those things into action, I love this phrase from families: man, I have my kid back. That's my Austin. That's the smile that we've missed. Oh my gosh, I can't believe we found this kid again. And that provides a level of rest, or what we call peace, that passes kind of some understanding of our carnal mind of, I don't know how that kid went from here to here, but now I feel some rest. I'm willing to bring him back home. I'm willing to take him out on, outings. I'm willing to give him back this trust. So in a Cliff Notes way, that's the Clearfork way. That's kind of how we operate, and the philosophy that we're designing, and hopefully that'll turn into a book one day, and we'll get to really articulate.
Yeah, absolutely. I'd love to have you back on the podcast once you have that book complete. And it's funny, a few things. I used to, do drugs. Don't tell anybody, but I would shave my head, and like the razor would probably be an old razor, so it would cut my head. I'd have blood dripping down my head, even going down in my face, and I'd go in the bathroom and look in the mirror, and I would think, what happened to my mother's son?
Wow.
The little kid on the swing. So even in the depths of my addiction, I knew that kid was still there. He was just lost.
Yeah.
And one of the things you're saying about what you just went through, like there's this book, and there's a line in there that says, we stood at the turning point. We asked his protection and care with completed abandon. These are the steps we took as a program of recovery. And that sentence goes in line with the Jeremiah 6:16. I'm going to really research that a little bit and see. I wonder, because a lot of the big book comes from the Bible,
Yep, absolutely. Yep.
So then that's I love that process, man. And I was getting really emotional when you were talking about it. So I'm just going to go kind of into the next step of this. And we, like I said, we go rogue. And sometimes the reason I set aside an hour is sometimes these get so good, the podcast, that I go beyond the half hour. So do you still have time to? Yeah,
man, I've got it slotted for another 30 minutes, so we're good.
Okay, cool. Because this is really good stuff, and so, like, when you started out, like, we always have to start out with that first person, right? And then we got to get the marbles out of our mouth. We have to go through the systems of processes, all the e-myth stuff, figure it out. But then now you're like a well-oiled machine. So, and you probably are based mostly on referrals. So you probably get a lot of people coming in. How do you get in front of more people? What are some of the things you're doing?
Well, that well-oiled machine looks different at every stage. I feel like it's a false summit. If you ever climb mountains, you get to a point where you're like, oh, we arrived. But you realize that you're only halfway there, and
you're at the next level.
Yeah, the view's really pretty, but you're not there yet, and so that's every business leader's challenge, I think, in that. And so it's a constant thing. We live, we're in a business where if we do really well, our customers don't come back.
Right.
So if we were an auto mechanic and we did an alternator or something like that, then they would come back when their fuel pump broke. But so we don't get repeat business when we do well, and so we try really, really hard to do things like we're doing today, and in creating organic content that stays in front of people, either a referral source or a parent. Obviously we're doing Facebook and Instagram and SEO and pay-per-click and kind of all those industry standard things. But I think the biggest win for us each week is just knowing another therapist, knowing another industry contact that works with kids, a school counselor, a probation officer, a psychologist. So we've got a team of folks that are out there every day giving their heart and their soul because they believe in the mission. They believe in leading adolescents to a new legacy so much that they're willing to get up at 5 a.m. and drive an hour one way to have breakfast with somebody and do all over the next day.
Yeah. So you got them as the boots on the ground.
Yep.
Kind of. And then, and that's really important again, because that goes in line with our mission is to help everyone on the planet with a challenge of addiction. And when I say that in my mission statement, I don't mean the individual addict or alcoholic. I mean the families, the mothers, fathers, spouses, the children. Yep. It's like when I finally got sober, I'll put it that way, my mom, she was like, I had 30 days and she's like, oh, well, now I'll get you a BMW, because her whole thing was, let's buy him something and then we'll take it away if he doesn't submit. So I really had to learn, like, as much as I want that, Mom, I can't accept it, because I had recovered and she was still, we both had to recover as a family and as parents, son and
I call that manipulation.
Yeah. So how do you deal with the families? Like, how do you follow up with the parents or spouse? Well, it's going to be the parents or the
caretakers or aunts, uncles, grandparents, whoever has custody of that kiddo.
Right. Yeah.
Man. So CBT and family systems are my two passions as a clinician, and I can work almost anything into a family systems modality. I love that family environment and helping parents communicate to their kids,
right.
And their kids communicating to their parents, because a lot of times much of this dysfunction can be solved by simple communication skills. And right. You have a military dad who's an engineer, and you have a son who's a creative, who's a free-spirited, kind of off the rails kind of person, not in a bad way, but likes to color outside the lines. And sometimes those don't connect.
Right.
And so just simply saying, hey, Dad, did you know when you communicate X, Y, and Z to your son that he feels and thinks this about himself?
Right.
And then, son, when you do X, Y, Z, your dad really believes this and this and this about himself. And so simple conversations like that. And then just practice.
Right.
Helps.
It's funny because I have a saying, you don't put a hippie on a military base, but he can have coffee, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
You can have that coffee break and that conversation where you meet at that level of accepting who each other are. That was a huge thing for me as well. Because one thing my mother doesn't do is she doesn't say, she'll explain what she's about to say, and it would drive me nuts. And once I went through this, it was called Alta Sierra Ranch School. Once I went through that, I was able to listen to my mother until she was finished with her sentence. And it was because of people like you and programs like Clearfork Academy that I was able to have this relationship with my parents and just function in a conversation that we never had before. Is very powerful.
Yep.
So then, is there something once they, like, I don't want to use the word graduate, but hey, I got a certificate in my closet that I got in my 20s. I still have it.
Well, I should
put it on my wall.
And that's why we call it a graduation, because I've walked with many kids, and we do very elaborate kind of graduation ceremony to where we have different, we do the 5 stages. We do a stand, a look, and ask, a walk, and a rest. We do 5 stages of our graduation, and we kind of memorialize their work, what they've accomplished and how they've accomplished it. And usually the therapist, the recovery coach, or the support staff that was associated with that event is working that stage. And so they're able to personally engage and reflect. And so many kids have gone through that and said, man, I haven't graduated anything.
Yeah.
that's the first thing that I've graduated, and I feel accomplished now.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for giving me that. Now I feel like I can go finish my education. Maybe I can go to college. Man, there's hope now. Just because you put a medallion around my neck and said, congratulations, you've graduated. It's very simple, but we want to memorialize that and create some memories around that graduation, so that when you're your age, you can think about it and go, yeah, I still have that.
Yeah.
Maybe not in paper, but in your heart and in your mind.
Yeah. And I do have it on paper. I'm thinking of getting it and put it on a frame and put it behind me so I can talk about it in these podcasts. I mean, it was a big achievement. And yeah, it was like, I can be successful in life, because I always thought I was going to just be a failure, because everything I did was, I was a mess. I was in military school. I was in youth camp. I was in lockdown as a teenager behind 4-inch bulletproof glass. And it just, and here's another thing that I learned through programs like Clearfork Academy was, I always thought like my parents were trying to get rid of me.
Yeah.
But what I found out is they loved me so much that they said, we need to put Sean here, because we need to get him the help. And they couldn't provide it. They couldn't carry it to me. But programs like Clearfork Academy could carry that message and just, give me the hope that I could be successful in life. It was very, very, powerful is the only word I could think of in building my character and who I am today.
Yeah.
So another thing that happened is, when you go through a process like this, and I know for me, I wanted to scream off the rooftops about how amazing this was. And so do you have like a way, like, do the parents or the kids, do they have a way of bringing like, hey, because I know for me, I just was partying with a bunch of party animals. Mm-hmm. So when I did recover, do you have a way that they can tell their friends, hey, you need to talk with Austin, or the parents saying to other parents, hey, you need to talk to Austin? How do you get those referrals or follow up with them to continue that process?
We do a pretty good follow-up sequence with some surveys and phone calls. I mean, we stay in contact once a week, once a month with our alumni coordinator. And so we stay in contact with them and really try to measure our success.
Right.
In a couple of years, I want to be able to acutely tell you, we treated 375 kids, and 300 of them are successful, and here's how we define success. So
yeah,
we do that. I think there's some fear in admitting that I've been to treatment, especially in an adolescent age. And we hear this a lot is, hey, I ask a family, hey, can you write me a referral? Can you do this? And they want to maintain their anonymity. And I totally get that.
Right.
Because when a kid goes to apply for to be a Marine, that they don't want to see this on the radar. When a kid goes to apply for an Ivy League school, they're gonna follow. And so that's a challenge I think we have that I would love to be able to take the stigma away from, and maybe from a legislative standpoint, that a kid can't get penalized for youth and stuff like that, because kids have been doing this for hundreds and hundreds of years.
Oh yeah.
We just now have Snapchat and Instagram to memorialize it and hold it over people's heads. And so it would be an awesome thing to garner that those alumni into robust referral sources, lack of a better term there, but to spread the word.
Yeah, I get that, because I remember that I went away for a year from my party friends. And when I came back, I had a psychic change. And so I was different, not like in a bad way, but like I just didn't buy into the let's go run shenanigans. I was like, I'm not comfortable doing that,
Yep.
anymore. And it really had to do with like, I'm not comfortable. Like that's not what I'm about. And so then I ended up when I got out and came back into the public system, I had new friends. I just attracted this new, more quality friends that weren't going out, people that were going to school, getting good grades, being respectful to their parents, being home on time. I just remember kids going, "Oh, hey, I got to leave." And we're teenagers. I'm like, "Well, where do you got to go?" "Oh, I got to go home for dinner." Or my mom, I got a curfew. I'm like, "You got a curfew? What is it?" Like, why would you even respect that? But then when since I had this, this, I don't know, education and this experience, I was like, you know what? I need to get home too. And that just totally changed the dynamic of my family, even to this day. I wanted to say that even with me, I went to the doctor the other day just for my yearly, and he asked me how much I drink and smoke cigarettes. No, he asked me if I smoke cigarettes. I go, no, I quit like 20 years ago. And he goes, well, do you drink? And I go, no. And then I said, I'm in recovery. And I go, but don't put that on my record. And he goes, oh, I won't. Because even like for me, it's like, I don't want you to put that there because I got to pay this health insurance thing. So there's that stigma there. Yep. So are you working with lawmakers and like with DC or in the political arena?
Not currently, and not yet. I think that'll be a platform as we get some more, groundwork and just really work a lot with the families, helping them understand the shame associated with it. So that's really the grassroots, trying to just empower families, youth pastors, people in the community that think that this kid is lost, this kid is broken, like there's no hope.
Right.
I want to speak hope and just say, look, Clearfork can be a way for the kid to find help.
Cool. I'm glad that because I had someone on the other day and they were in the political arena and they've been in the game for a long time. And so he's at that level to where he flies to DC and he talks with the politicians about this. But then there's like, you're more focused on like just helping the child. So where he's not in his 20s, 30s, 40s with these challenges that other people are having right now. And they're living, they're having a good relationship with the Lord. They're having a good relationship with their wives, that they haven't even met yet, just building this foundation. And so with that foundation and those 5 pillars that you spoke about, is there like a book that you've written currently that talks about those? I mean, or a video series?
I've done a little bit of blog type stuff. It's really hard. I'm envious of you right now because you've set aside time to do stuff like this and building the business and running the business, and it's been hard. That's one of my goals is to be able to set aside a day to get a lot of the stuff out of my head and on paper, so it can kind of go viral, if you will. And be able to, somebody can read a book without me having to tell the story, and not see and hear me. So those are on the to-do list, but they're way back. They're way back on the list.
Yeah, I have, I wrote a book, and the way it all started was with my very first blog post. Mm-hmm. And I wrote this blog, and it was like the 7 things. And then I was like, well, now I got to write the 7 things. I need to expand on that and expound on them. And then with the 7 things, it was like this whole blog post where you can go back and forth. I'm talking about the 6th thing right here, but you're reading about the 7th. So click here to learn about the 6th. So it's like this really kind of complicated thing. but my mind works like that. And then once I had all that written, I was like, well, this is kind of a book. So I made it a book, got that to be a bestseller. And then the really cool thing about it was I was able to like wake up in the morning and do some writing in the morning. But there is a little trick where you can just talk into your iPhone.
Yep.
And then just take all that text and then give it to one of your people.
Yep.
And there's also a thing I'll show you with this recording we're making right now, how you can upload it to YouTube and just take all the text out for free. So you could just really literally make a video series. Like if you have 5 things, talk about the first thing, the second thing, the third thing, make 5 videos, upload them to YouTube, download all the text, and then now you have a book. I'll show you how to do that. I'll make a little video for you. Yeah.
Nice.
And if the listeners want to know how to do it, then go ahead and go to sobrietysociety.org and sign up as a a guest speaker, and we'll do that for you as well. So all that set aside, though, we're coming to the top of the hour. So a lot of things like you being the visionary and you reading the E-Myth, like that's big, because if you do, a lot of people I say, if you don't read that, you're really kind of lost, because you got the technician, the manager, and the entrepreneur. So as the visionary, you're always struggling with the manager. Like, I need to do payroll and I need to do that's my biggest challenge right there. I don't like numbers. So, well, not financial numbers anyhow. I'm like, look, I got a bookkeeper, figure it out. Yep. But what is one thing that you've always wanted to do in your business as a vision that you haven't done yet?
Take a day off.
Right.
I work really, really hard at getting people to stay healthy and to do self-care, but I'm the last one to do that, and I think it's the growing pains. And, I think for me, there's a vision, and E-Myth talks about, we start a business to have more control, but then we get into it and really realize that the business has control over us.
Right.
And what are the things that we need to delegate and assign, and not really abdicate, but manage from a distance. And I think I'm really close getting there and having a core process for everything. And the next big jump is for us, and I haven't said this out loud to anybody, but to add more beds.
Yeah.
We've been on a wait list for since January, and we have 24 beds. And so if Clearfork can help 50 kids at a time, why not?
Yeah, absolutely.
And I asked that question, and the answer is usually, do it, to my people, to my kind of board of directors, for myself. And so that's really the next big thing, is just to create a bigger Clearfork.
Yeah.
To help more kids, help more families, and leave a bigger impact and legacy on our state and our city.
Yeah. It's funny because I have a girlfriend visiting from Texas, and she's like, you got to go to the doctor, and we got to take care of this, and you need to see that. And I'm just like getting mad because she's pulling me away from my business. Mm-hmm. And the reason I love her is she's pulling me away from my business, because I cannot, like, I will just sit in here and like, there's so many things that need to be done. But then when I have someone saying, hey, go to the doctor, get something to eat, let's go for a walk, let's get a salad, because I'm like, I'll just go get a hot dog for 50 cents at AM PM, eat it while I'm driving and making phone calls, So it's as the entrepreneur and as the visionary, we run into that.
Yeah. And I've never lived the substance abuse addict lifestyle,
right?
But I've been a business owner for a long time, and they look very, very much the same.
Right. Yep.
The family destruction, the physical health destruction, the anxiety, the depression, all of those things can be comorbid, if you will,
Right.
with entrepreneurialism.
Right. And that brings us back to, just being centered and having faith and,
Yes.
and living in the direction that God, living, and I want to say God's will. I don't really know what that is, but I'm pretty sure it's to help other people.
To love me and love other people.
Yeah. Yeah. Joy, Jesus, others, you, in that order.
Yeah.
And it's a wonderful thing to, this has been a really good podcast. This is just so exciting. So, what's the future? I know you want to have more beds, you want to grow your business, but also, I'm going to be pushing you about this book and this video series and these 5 things and getting them done. Do you see those happening, like having a book? My next book is called Sober on Purpose. And so do you see anything like that in the next year?
If I put it on my calendar, I will get it done. And so I have the old phone, that goes everywhere with me. And so when I have an idea, I just text it into the phone, and so I've got a notebook that says book ideas.
Yeah.
So it really is one of those BHAGs, if you will, the Jim Collins ideas to get a couple of those things written out. So
yeah, it's on the back burner. So and that's like, I was writing mine and everyone was loving it. I was posting it. It started out just me writing down my story on Facebook, and everyone started reading it and commenting it and saying, Shone, this should be a book. This should be a book. And then I heard a girl say that she needs to stay sober on purpose. I was like, oh, there's I kind of stole my the title of my book from just someone sharing about she needs to stay sober for her children. And I'm like, but we have a purpose to be sober, and we also need to be sober on purpose. So it was a great thing. And so that's what I'm working on.
Nice.
Yeah. So if for your listeners and my listeners, how would they get in contact with you?
Man, they can reach us at clearforkacademy.com. Very simple, clearforkacademy.com. And then if it's a phone, man, it's 817-382-8463. Those are the 2 easiest ways. On the website, there's an info at clearforkacademy.com. If you want to email us, those come straight to me.
Okay, great.
So pretty easy to find us. Facebook.
Yeah, so it's Austin Davis at clearforkacademy.com. And also, what about Instagram? Is there anything going on there that the kids can follow?
Oh man, don't get me lying on what it is.
That's okay. We could just Google Clearfork Academy and it should come up, right?
It's on there. I can't remember the handle right now. It's terrible. I'm embarrassed.
Oh no, but trust me, because even on my LinkedIn isn't Sobriety Society, which it should be. It's something else. I just noticed that the other day. And as entrepreneurs, we have so many ideas flying through our head. But we have to be in the moment, create it, and then go to the next step, and then go back and manage it.
Yep.
So that, I get it. So this is, I want to thank you so much, Austin, for being on our podcast, Sobriety Society. And again, it's Austin with Clearfork Academy. Go ahead and go to clearforkacademy.com, or you can email Austin at info@clearforkacademy.com. He reads all the email. He'll respond. He'll help you in any way. And if it's not a fit, he will get you to the right people that will help you. And if you have a daughter or a sister or someone that you're very close to in a door that needs some help, Austin's working on getting that. But contact him anyhow. He can get you in the right direction for your child, your son, your daughters, your siblings. We're really here to help to make a powerful difference in your life, so you can be with the people you love, sleep at night, and have peace of mind. So thanks for showing up, Austin.
Thank you, Sean. It's been a pleasure. Have a great day.
Okay, thanks. I put my hand up because now I know where to cut it. So yeah, I'd love to go on another interview with you when you have some stuff coming up.
Yeah, man, we can drill down on all of that.
Now, are
And
you doing any type
you
of
know,
texting campaigns? Do you do
no,
texting?
no, I got your follow up text, and I was like, oh, we need to be doing that. Are you doing that through Active Campaign,
There is a way to do it through Active Campaign.
or you're an Infusionsoft guy?
I'm in Infusionsoft and Active Campaign.
Yep.
So I'm an Active Campaign partner, and my good friend Corey Snyder is just now ramping that up. I'd love to chat with you and your people about that in the future.
Yeah, I mean, I think when we had talked, we were looking at onboarding Salesforce. That was a total disaster. We put a bunch of time and money into it, and I just completely abandoned it.
Yeah.
And are fully using Zoho, and they're the Zoho One platform.
Yeah.
So that seems to be working good for us. We've been running it for about 3, probably 4 weeks now with the CRM and the chat bot and the automations. And so working on really that workflow.
Well, I can get you the texting thing, but right now I can get you so I have I'm grandfathered into a lot of things because I've been doing this for over a decade. So I get like a lot of things for free and a lot of things at a very low price. And I actually have some texting stuff that is where you text like 33444. You text the word Clearfork to it. Okay. And then what it will do is it will do you have like a checklist or those 5 things written up?
Yes.
Or anything, any type of ebook?
Yeah, we've got some PDF download type of stuff built into Active Campaign right now.
Yeah, cool.
So it's kind of our drip campaign through Active Campaign. That's download this, and then you get a video, and then download that, and then you get this, and so it's kind of a
I can actually email you some of that information. Okay. Would you like to set up another time and chat a little bit more about that, or?
Yeah, I mean that's one of the avenues, lead gen, that we are not using, or a texting campaign of any kind. So is that outbound to like a Rolodex, or is that to existing numbers, or?
There's a few different ways you can go about it, but I have some really complicated things and I have some very simple things. But I'd like to go over that with you and your team. Okay. And show you all the different things that we offer. Would you like to chat about it next week sometime?
Yeah, send me your calendar thing, and I'll pick a time.
Okay.
And we'll dive into it.
Yeah, yeah. And then, do you have like a marketing director?
Yes, his name is Andre, so we'll get him on board with it.
Yeah,
too.
Make sure he's online.
Yep.
And then we'll just go over all that stuff, and I'll just pile on the cool, and I'll just do a brain dump for you guys.
That'd be awesome.
Cool. All right, I'll send that on over.
Thank you, sir. Have a great week.
Okay, talk to you soon.
Bye.
Okay, bye.